Welcome to the Rockerness Podcast. And what do we do here? We interview songwriters about why they started writing, have them play us one of the first songs they ever wrote. Then we talk about what kept them going and what they're doing now. I'm your host, Rose Sean. My faithful co-hosts are Terence LeClaire and Tony Tancredi. Today's guest is a real badass in the sense that I'm pretty sure she can do anything, and not just musically. You'll see what I mean as you listen. But musically, she sings, she plays piano, guitar, bass, synth, and probably other stuff. And she composes for film and television. She's a solo artist, was a member of Passion Pit, and Liz Phair tweeted that her short-lived but awesome project Riot Horse Royale sounded like Joy Division. You know there is no greater authority on our show than Liz Phair. It's Emily Greene. We talked to Emily about her unique and beautiful experience at Berklee College of Music, her love of putting on a show, and supporting a national bus tour in her car. Stay tuned for a revelation about the ephemeral nature of fame and the story of a canceled show that changed her life forever. Get your caffeine, get your nicotine. It's our living room chat with Emily Greene.
So we're cutting all that then?
All right.
Let's
so
not. Yeah. God forbid people are, oh God, Emily's talking about the Zodiac again.
No, I think we're keeping all that if you're cool with it.
No, don't do it.
This is you said it's not a woo-woo podcast, but it is it. We're all woo-woo over here.
You know what? We're very fluid.
woo-woo.
Yeah, I'm a fluid wooer.
Fluider. Okay, so are we starting now?
Yeah.
Starting-
No, we
Emily.
started 15 minutes ago.
Welcome, Emily.
Welcome, Emily Greene.
Hey.
It's so good to see you. It's been a sec.
I know, Tony, I'm happy to see you.
Last time I saw you was at Dan Romer's house. Shout out, Dan.
I know, we had a huge party.
And it was amazing.
amazing.
You performed a couple of your new songs, right?
Yeah. And you made it happen. You got the lights there. I called you up. You were like, yeah, 2 days. I got it. I'm covering you. I got you, girl. I was like, okay, great. Where did Tony Tancredi come from?
Well, I love connecting dots. It's like
Yeah.
literally one of my favorite things ever.
You're really good at it.
We
appreciate
do
that.
often ask ourselves, where did Tony Tancredi come from?
You gotta ask
That's
my
true.
mom. I'm not sure. I've never seen a birth certificate.
Well, the government did just recently acknowledge that aliens exist
That's
and that
true.
they've come here. So
Are you from a UPA?
They're on to me.
Yeah.
All right, pick me up.
anyhow, let's talk about your musical journey.
Okay. Where should we start?
The beginning.
As far back
Everyone
as
starts
possible.
somewhere.
I love that.
But as far back as possible, I think I read online that your parents are musicians as well.
Yeah, my parents are musicians. I kind of grew up with it, so it's pretty. It was just in the house all the time. Like you don't walk in the house without music or without someone playing or.
What kind of songs?
Well, my dad was a jazz and classical pianist, so there was a lot of instrumental music, but also I think there was a lot of Stevie Wonder and there was a lot of Joni Mitchell and a lot of Bob Marley and a lot of Debussy. That sounds so
No.
But like
Claire de Lune kind of stuff?
yes, and also different versions of Claire de Lune. Yeah, they were really experimental and open and took me to all sorts of shows and they were just into the arts. And so I
that's
felt
awesome.
really lucky that from a young age I was nurtured and encouraged to do it without the helicopter aspect of the parents. They were just like, yeah, like express yourself. But I think at the time I was more into dance.
Oh, wow.
And I would do choreography for all the adults and
Of course.
organize their chairs. Like I
Yes.
loved the production setup where I'd be like, no,
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
are all sitting here and I'm going to tell you when we're going to go on. And then I would like get my friends over and coordinate everybody.
That came
my
out at your
gosh.
show. You made that living room look really cool. Seriously.
Wow, that's so cool.
I'm serious. I couldn't have done that without you.
No. I'm talking about you.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
We had a great time.
Yeah, what kind of dance? Was it like modern stuff or classical stuff?
I think that it
Body
was... Yeah, it was...
Body waving.
I think there was a lot of Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
I think that she was my...
Biology.
Oh, no, it's okay. She's a cold-hearted snake. You know,
Look
it's
into
like,
his eyes.
I was
Yeah.
obsessed.
right?
Yes.
That was like one of my first concerts. I mean, my dad now says I went to some string quartet, but
Not the same.
Yeah, not the
Yeah, no,
same.
no,
And I remember getting to the Paula Abdul concert and seeing all the outfit changes and the lights, and the production really got me, like in a way that I was just blown away. She came out and she had the hats on, and then her dresses changed, and then I don't know.
And
it
the
was
choreography, I bet, was amazing.
Yeah, she was Janet Jackson's choreographer.
I didn't
like
know
back in
that.
the day. A funny story. If you watched Janet Jackson, this one video, she's kind of in the background. You see Paula Abdul just like sitting there with her, kind of chilling.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
didn't even know that. I just knew she
trying
was.
to think of what song.
I just knew she was a Laker girl.
Oh, that too.
But I love that that was just like a formative experience of like, oh my God, this
That's
is what
so
live
cool.
music can be like.
I loved it. I loved the whole. I think I knew early on that I loved entertainers and I loved entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved expression and I loved what it brought out of people and what it brought out of myself, and that it was like the one place you were encouraged to just enter or exit every aspect or version of yourself. It's like not often. You don't go to the grocery store and they're like, we want it bigger.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of special permission to be extra.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank God.
True, yeah.
So you started playing piano really early.
Yeah, I started playing piano pretty early, and my dad is a pianist, so he definitely helped me a lot with that. My mom played guitar as well. And I did have, my first teacher was a woman named Delphine Mayock, and she had this like bright red hair, and she was kind of stern, but she would bring me the busts every time I would accomplish something. So I was really motivated by the terrible classical, Mozart bust, and I wanted all of them. It's like,
That's
I don't know
clever.
why.
What a funny motivator. Like, yeah, you got to just collect them all, learn all the symphonies or whatever.
I'm so interested. Like, what do you think it was one of your dad's friends, or like, because he's such an accomplished pianist? Like, it's just, how do you get a piano teacher for your kid when you're such a good piano player yourself? You know what I mean?
I think he had some expectations or hopes that I would learn at first all the major minor skills, then I would learn different chord progressions so that I could improvise on top of doing it. So like he had a pretty clear plan about what it would look like.
That's amazing.
He was maybe trying to like groom you to be a collaborator.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is I guess so. He at some point in the past 10 years in an offhanded comment was like, I never thought you were going to be a musician. I always thought you'd be an actor. And I was like, what?
That's funny.
Because the dance performances, it's
Oh, for sure.
Very
You have that spirit,
passionate.
Yeah.
Like
I mean-
I'm definitely a bleeding heart passion person.
Well,
So
I think that
We love
translates. I think
Yeah.
that translates to all the art forms. Really,
Yeah.
if
Of
you have
course.
that kind of drive to express, But were you taking actual dance classes?
I was at the time.
Yeah, like ballet, tap, whatever.
Ballet, tap, jazz. I've always hated authority, so I remember a distinct idea of hating the woman teaching and also like hating the outfits and how restrictive they were and like the buns in the hair and everything. And I don't think the certain formats were for me.
Yeah, I could see that. So you were kind of like, I don't like the teachers, or you didn't like the form of it. So how
I think it was the teachers. Like as we're talking about this, I'm like, Emily, you love costumes. What are you talking about? Like
Yeah.
like a couple of years ago, I spent several years just building costumes and masks and
fun.
Oh,
these
yeah.
giant paper mache masks and sewing. And I did a lot of building props for a while just to kind of
cool.
re-inspire myself. And I'm thinking it must be more about the authority.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's true. I mean, like, because I don't know. I would question, like, how does this person know that what they're saying is what's right? Like it's
just like your opinion, man.
yeah. It's like I see what you're trying to teach, but I don't think it needs to be that way, right?
Well,
Exactly.
so how long did the lessons last?
She's like 2 weeks.
Like 4 hours. Pick up your child, Jenny. I think I don't remember. I just remember I have a vision of like my best friend at the time, Michelle, and I like posing and stuff. So the one nice thing is and something I love is friendship. I'm friends with a lot of the same friends I've been friends with my whole life. And
Oh, that's awesome.
I think about Michelle. So I'm like, that's what made me think, are you sure you didn't like the costumes? Those photos are so cute.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Like with the sequins on them and the cute poses.
Aw.
Was there a point where you were kind of like, oh, maybe music is more my thing?
It just happened.
It just happened.
It really just happened. Like I keep trying to get out, and then I get like another opportunity, and I'm like,
That's so funny.
okay, this is it, you know. And then I get another thing, and yeah, I music has always kind of been a best friend that I've been obsessed with. That is hard to leave and won't leave me also.
Yeah.
Music
Yeah.
is the Aries friend of your life.
Music
like-
is yes.
Let's
yes,
go.
Let's go. Let's play. I mean, I've always loved performing, and I've always loved a stage, and I've always loved also being in an audience. And so I think just something about the church of the stage really has always moved me from as long as I can remember, which I'm assuming for everybody in here it's similar.
Well,
Yes.
it's an energy exchange, right? Because when you know, if you're playing just by yourself, you know, you're putting out the energy, but when you're performing, it's being reflected back to you. And that is like an extremely powerful drug, I think.
Well, the ritual of like setting up a stage, like you have all the chairs here, and then this is the area where magic happens, you know, whatever that magic is, right?
Did you like play music with your parents at all?
I did.
Yeah.
I did play with them, and still my mom and I harmonize on the phone, or
Oh, that's cute.
we all play, we all sing, and it's pretty familial for us.
Oof, I
They-
bet Christmas at your house is fire.
Oh yeah.
They, you know, the holidays are. Well, I also feel like holidays always bring up a lot of drama in everybody's family. So yeah, there's definitely some sing-alongs, and then there are also some darker sing-alongs.
What is
does
a
that
darker
mean? Like-
sing along? I hear the bells. Do you hear bells? I hear the bells.
The most tense version of Carol of the Bells you've ever heard.
Well, I just feel like the holidays are always painted as this like beautiful time, and
It's
I
the
love them.
most
But
wonderful
Yeah.
time.
it's the most wonderful time, but then it's also like, you know, I've always said that I wish someone would send me the Christmas card that's like Jimmy's in jail, and,
Yeah.
you know,
Tony,
whoever's
I'm
in
pregnant.
Yeah, like Mary's back in rehab, and you know, sometimes
Yeah.
I feel like it puts a weird pressure on all of us to showcase ourselves as something that we're not.
Be
Or-
like happy and cheerful and
Yeah.
totally. Well, I just meant musically. I bet it's amazing at your house.
musically, it's cool. I mean, my parents are. I got lucky. They are accepting and encouraging.
You said your mom plays guitar, and so was that more like a folk side, like on her end?
Classical guitar
Classical,
Oh, wow.
and singing. So, yeah, it was cool. Like they would be like, "That was really good. Will you try that one more time with a little more feeling?" And I'm
Oh,
like,
nice.
Whoa.
That's fun.
Okay, but I think that because of that, I didn't take it. I understood that they wanted me to emote and to be as musical as possible. They were, you know, were really trying to get the best performance out of me, and it didn't make me like shy away.
That's really nice. Yeah,
Right.
because
That's awesome.
the reverse is oftentimes like parents being like, "That's nice, dear."
Oh, yeah, like, that's
you
so
know, and
good.
it doesn't really matter what you did.
Well, I think,
know?
I think
So
there's
that's really
like
nice.
like encouragement to challenge yourself is not maybe the same thing as pressure, you know? So I think that's it's cool that they were able to strike that balance because it's like, well, I think you're supposed to enjoy music. I don't know.
Of course.
At what point did you start like writing your own things?
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot till this moment, but I think that you know that song that's like, "Take these broken wings."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mister.
Mr. Okay, I couldn't remember, but I remember I have a specific memory of me loving that song, then recording a version that I
Yeah.
believe was a cover, but that I thought was my own song, and then presenting it as if it was my own song. So I don't think I like
awesome.
was trying to steal. I think I just loved it so much, and then did a reiteration or a reimagining in my own way with my own gibberish.
Yeah.
And so that's not my first song, but I distinctly remember me kind of naturally being like using the same chord progression and probably some kind of
I think
strange
legally
lyrics.
that's a mechanical copyright that you own because you created your own. So you're in the clear.
I gotta find the tape, but yeah, I'm looking for it. But
Well, it's mine now.
yeah, Emily Greene, we're looking for a sound-alike of Mr. and Mr. for this Zales commercial.
Looking for a Mrs. kind of vibe. You know?
Yeah.
Call me up, Amir.
Wow. Yeah, like any music supervisors listening, we got you.
Yeah, holler. But I think I then went to music school. I grew up in Miami, and then I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston. And I was thinking I was going to be an attorney, and took all the business classes, and was there for piano. And then in the midst of that, found songwriting.
Wow.
And then it came pretty easily. And that's really, I feel like college was really when I,
Like properly composed something.
yeah, I think I was more focused on academics, and growing up martial arts a lot was a
Oh.
big focus for me. And
Which,
Oh, really?
what kind?
Taekwondo.
Nice.
So you can whoop ass, huh?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think I wanted to walk home alone, and my mom was like, "You can do it when you become a black belt." So she was trying to buy some time.
Yeah.
And then
That's kind of smart.
suddenly 10 years passed, and it was
Wow, that's
400th Junior Olympics or stuff like that or whatever. But so I did it. Did it competitively. I think that kind of took the spotlight, and then volleyball took the spotlight, and
very cool.
I don't know. I went to a Berklee College of Music 5-week music program, and that kind of changed my life when I was 15. And then I ultimately went to Berklee, and songwriting then really emerged for me. I think I had a roommate,
Yeah.
and
if you guys could have seen the look on her face just now.
she kind of started showing me around some stuff, and then some other friends showed me some stuff, and then an ex-boyfriend's friend, we were all at their house, and I think the guy, I don't know, they played video games, and my friend and I used to sing and hang out, and I would sing, and she ended up, the story is dragging on because it's kind of fragmented in my mind, but she was like, "You have a really cool voice," and I was like, "Oh, no, I don't sing in front of people." And she's like, "No, I love your voice. It's so cool." I was like, "You're the one who's like the star at the school, and it's okay. You know, you should sing to me." And like a few weeks later, someone called me and said, "Hey, we need a singer for something, and we got your information from Jen, my friend, and she said she wasn't the right singer for it, and that you're the right singer for it." And I was like, "Oh, I think you guys got the wrong."
Oh, shout out Jen.
Wrong.
Yeah,
I think you
right?
guys got the
Yeah,
wrong
she's pitching you
person.
for stuff.
That's really
cool.
sweet.
Yeah, and then from there on out, I made friends and collaborators that I go to their weddings and
Wow.
That's
holidays
so
and
awesome.
events still to this day. So kind of changed, I guess. Yeah, I love you, Jen. Changed my life.
Shout
Wow.
out, Jen.
I mean, I don't think I was at that point. I mean, growing up, I was definitely looking for a spotlight, but it kind of dissipated once the school I went to, there was so much competition academically that I just was like trying to keep up. But then slowly I remembered, like, I don't think this is where, I think I got into like a really good private school, and then I got into the magnet art school, and my parents didn't have a lot of education, so they really wanted me to have education. And so I just was trying to keep up with the kids.
Right.
Even though, like, you know, you ask me a question, I'm like, what color were they wearing when they wrote the question? And the other person's like, it's definitely B, you know, and I like, it was hard for me to be thinking a little alternatively, but I wasn't really looking for that, or like, I'm not saying I don't love attention. Of course I do, but I wasn't, I wasn't in the center of the room kind of going for it. And I actually think that's what made it kind of come around pretty quickly, because I wasn't like seeking it out or grasping too tightly.
That's so cool. What was the kind of song that you sang that they requested your voice for?
Yeah.
I think they wanted Bjork.
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's a great like compliment.
That's a huge
I love her
compliment.
voice.
Yeah. Same.
Okay, I was trying to think, like, because I was listening to your stuff yesterday, and that does kind of make sense, because you have a certain kind of like maybe throatiness that could kind of call up Bjork a little bit.
And a belt too.
I mean, I didn't have any voice lessons, so I was just talking to some people, and I was like, yeah, I used to sing like I had like marbles in my mouth. And everyone would say, I don't know what you're saying when you're singing. And now as I get older, I think I was like, oh no one knows what I'm saying. And now as I get older, I'm like, who fucking cares if
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
knows
Have
what
you
you're
listened
saying?
to Iron Butterfly?
Yeah, like just
I
go
remember,
for it.
Yeah, Born to Run. I thought Bruce Springsteen, who doesn't drink, I thought he was wasted when he recorded that, because his voice, you can't really, I couldn't understand what he was saying. I'm also French, so it was like kind of hard to understand. But like he's like, let me. It's almost a Jarl actually.
Yeah,
but like
Jarl adjacent.
It's so funny how like I think that's kind of endearing though, like the voice, like kind of.
I mean, we have many layers, but yes, I specifically remember when I first got there, one singer doing runs, and then the other really big singer down the hallway trying to outrun her.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking like, what is going on here?
That's hilarious.
But I'm sure in many ways along the way, I have figured out how to try and outrun someone from down the hallway, whether I'm aware of it or not.
I mean, you know what that sounds like?
That sounds fun.
That sounds like something out of the movie Fame.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, sure.
Did you hear that? I'm better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. I can totally imagine it makes me giggle because it's like, no, that's real. That's like a comedy writer didn't write that. That's like.
That was a Tuesday at your school.
Yeah.
That was a Tuesday. That was a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday at music school.
And you were learning piano too.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely went in there. I had some amazing teachers. There was one woman named Joanne Brackeen who's well known for doing a lot of odd meter stuff. And she really changed my life. I would bring her like songs I liked, and she would be like, "This piano is quite simple. Is there anything else you'd like to bring me?" And I'd be like, "But I don't know how to play it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was tall and long and lanky and had like wiry gray hair and like deep eyes, and I really liked her.
So what were you listening to while you were at Berkeley?
I mean, I think Berkeley also opened up, because it is jazz education, I really learned a lot about jazz artists. And I think in that time I really fell in love with Chet Baker.
Oh my God, I was just thinking Chet Baker.
You were?
No, I love Chet Baker.
His voice, I mean, like, if I have any
his
anxiety.
voice sounded like a muted trumpet. Like it was just
so beautiful and warm, and it feels like I know why I love synths, and I know why I love certain vocal textures, and it's because not only because my ears are like deers and they like stick out. I mean, I grew into my ears, but when I was younger, oh my gosh, they were so big. But it feels warm. Mm-hmm. Like it just feels like a blanket.
Yeah.
And Chet Baker just feels that texture is divine to me. He's amazing. So I listened to a lot of jazz, and it was interesting because I think I did start listening to like Bjork during that period of time.
So what album?
What the first thing is coming up to mind, because I've listened to most of them, or is Hyper Ballad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that moved a lot of us. It felt like emotional landscape, texture. It just, I think the one thing that I really love, the intersection of TV and film and music and production or anything entertainment, is that there's world building. And her world building is unlike anyone else's.
Yeah, was it homogeneous? That whole album is like totally like world building.
It's
it just
beautiful.
it feels like Iceland when you like listen to it.
It really does.
Yeah.
So jazz, Bjork, what kind of like inspired you to like write your own thing? What was that first song?
When Tony asked me this, I was like, the first thing that came to mind was We Are Beautiful. And the funny thing is, I think I had been putting out some songs this past year, and then I went into some radio stations, and then they would say like, "So tell me about this new song, Show Me." And I'd be like, "Well, when I wrote We Are Beautiful." And then I'd be like, why am I talking about this song? And ever since, and it's happened multiple times, and I don't know why.
I love that.
But it just has, it's in the back of my mind, so I felt like it was meant to be that it kind of resurfaced. But I think at the time I just was thinking about love. I think I was falling in love for the first time. I don't think I was feeling what it is to sex.
Yeah.
Heard of it?
I was like, oxytocin felt good.
I was going to say all the happy chemicals.
I had like the nicest boyfriend who was so kind, and I was thinking about unity, and I'm laughing as I say this because I'm like, who is she? Put the weapons away. I was I was thinking about peace and love. And
Did you say at the time you had like a real California kind of hippie vibe?
I had long hair, and I guess, I must have just been I had a really good time at Berkeley. I know a lot of people struggled because they grew up as a big fish in a small pond wherever they grew up with, and then they came to Berkeley and it was like very competitive. But for me, I had no ego and I was not a fish in a pond.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like a kid in a candy shop, like, oh my God, we're around so much music. Oh my God, this is really fun. Oh my God, we're gonna like play music. Oh my God.
Nice.
And I had a pretty beautiful experience there.
That's great.
It's so rad.
Yeah, I mean, that's taking ego out of a thing often really improves it and improves the results.
Yeah.
Too, like what you got out of it, not being in competition with your classmates, but just sort of like figuring out where you fit into the music business, quote unquote.
I mean, that's the inspiration, the style of it. Yeah, it's such a you must have been channeling something, because out of all those influences to have that song come through is really, because it's not like you were imitating something else. It was genuinely like coming up with something new.
Well, I think you were telling us before we started recording that it kind of came out of you in one piece too, which is really interesting because,
That often doesn't happen.
yeah.
No, not in a whole piece. There's been some of them have, but I hadn't written a lot. And I remember being in one class and sitting in the back of the room and just writing it all down very quickly and it kind of flowing out. And I also think I was practicing a lot of piano at the time, and I had to take all these like piano labs, and they were like, practice a bossa nova. And I was like, dum, dum, bo, da, doo, da. And so I must have just combined like whatever I was practicing with what I was feeling in my social, emotional love life.
That's kind of cool. It's so rare for an idea to just like kind of be fully formed, and for that to be like so early in your songwriting journey. It must have felt like it must have felt kind of special.
I think it did, because also I think there were like 2 other songs, and then I had a lot of cool things happen pretty quickly, and I was like, whoa, this is easy. I learned later it's not. It's many miles without water and then too much water.
Yeah.
Feast or famine.
Right. Like maybe just like a smidge of like beginners, not luck, but like a nice little launch. You're like, oh, I'm in the air.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really interesting, and it was the first time I felt like, oh, I know where I belong. Mm-hmm. And even in songwriter rounds or in circles where we all play, like it felt like the first time where I felt like, oh, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, do you want to play it for us?
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
The song is called We Are Beautiful.
We all come from different backgrounds, different colors, different families, but it's time to come together. We might be separated permanently, and we all want the warmth of our own mankind, but if we wait for another, we'll be left behind. So drop the borders and come on in. We are each other's families. Be kind to your kin, 'cause we are beautiful on the inside, yeah, and on the outside too. We are loving creatures, sometimes bruised and disposed, hatred, pain, and anger, diseases we suffer from most. It's time to heal our wounds instead. Bust our prayers, listen to each other, forgive and share, 'cause we are beautiful on the inside, yeah, and on the outside too. And we are beautiful beautiful on the inside, yeah, and on the outside too. No one can heal us but ourselves. No one can heal us but ourselves. No one can heal us but ourselves. No one can heal us but ourselves, because we are beautiful on the inside, yeah, and on the outside too. And we are beautiful on the inside, yeah, and on the outside too. We are beautiful. We are beautiful. We are beautiful. We are beautiful. We are beautiful on the inside too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love your voice.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Caffeine, nicotine, and Emily Greene.
I have two other shirts.
By
I
the
only
way.
had like 5 from like 15
Oh my
years
God,
ago,
those
and
are
I
so
brought what I had
cute.
left
brought
here.
us
Oh my
'cause
God,
I was
that's
like,
so sweet.
they're vintage.
Oh my God.
from that era, right?
Well, I gave one to Tony, and Tony's like,
Oh
yeah,
my
that's cool. I'm
God.
like, no, I got like only a few
Limited
left.
edition, baby. I
Love
love it.
it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
well, I was
awesome.
I literally like, when he said that, he was like, okay, come play guitar. And I've been playing mostly bass. And then I like took this out, and then I was like, oh my God, there's these weird stickers on this. And also had these
Weird.
old
Sir
stickers.
Nigel Noteworthy the second.
Which makes total sense because
Yeah.
I love the Middle Ages now, and I love the Vikings. So like anything being knighted
Yeah.
or anything about honor.
Apparently, Viking
Really
is a
into it.
verb. Did you know this? I just
Really?
learned this yesterday. Viking is a verb.
What?
Like they go
Means-
Viking.
Oh, wow.
I also love Vikings though.
I learned that. Yeah.
Just
Have you seen the show?
oh yeah.
the show Vikings.
Love the show. Yeah, I am really a sucker for like historical dramas of pretty much every stripe. There's not really an era I'm not into. I want costumes. I want all the costumes.
Me too.
And if there's sword fighting, all the better.
100%.
Yeah.
Specifically sword fighting, huh?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Sword
Guns
fighting
are
is
less
kinda
exciting. Guns are less exciting. Swords are cool.
Yeah, guns. It's over pretty quick.
Yeah, true. Okay, so you were probably doing some kind of performance as part of your program, but then like what, as far as like yourself as a band or like your artist project, how did that kind of evolve?
The boyfriend I had at the time was a bass player, and there was so much jazz that I think it was a jazz trio at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It had to be.
And then we were just playing that, and then I think in one of my business classes I said I want to play another show. I've been playing locally, but I want to play one of the bigger clubs or something. And this one girl in the back room said, "Well, I can make that happen for you." And she had like the craziest accent, and like just like was like, we are still best friends to this day. Let me just say, Aquarian. It's like Clem and I. But she would have been the last person I maybe picked in the lineup. Like we just look worlds apart.
Yeah.
But never mind. I don't want to reveal too much about her. But
Shout out mystery woman.
nipple rings forever. But
Aquarian.
she was my booking agent, and then she ended up going to a larger booking agency, and she brought me on, and then they brought me on to someone else, and we have been Best friends ever since.
That is amazing.
All because you asked.
In a class, a
That's
random class.
amazing.
And she was like, oh, I'm part of the Boston. Like, I do a lot of club promotional stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. She
Love
has like
it.
a crazy mind for dates too. And she can tell you the date it was and what time it was. And that we were like 3 tickets shy away of taking more money home than we should have.
Oh, wow.
Like she remembers
That's a booking
everything
agent.
too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I hope whoever listens to this, if you got a burning question, ask it. You know?
Yeah, that's my motto.
Yes.
Just ask.
Well,
Isn't that
right.
cool?
Like, yeah, Tony does say that. Just ask. And it is like, yeah, there's the magic, the quote unquote magic of speaking something out loud is that there might actually be somebody listening who can go like, oh,
Make
yeah,
that
I know a
happen
guy.
for
And what's
you.
the worst that's going to happen? Nothing?
Yeah, well, right.
Might
nothing.
as well ask.
But so
as
she,
well
I mean, that also though, like we've talked to a couple people who went to Berkeley and they all kind of say that like one of the best things about going to Berkeley was who they met at Berkeley, which I mean, that makes sense because it's, you know, people who are in theory very serious about whatever aspect of music they're studying there. But that is pretty cool though, that she's just like, oh, I can make it happen. And you're like, great. And
You're
then,
like, sure,
you know,
and then she did.
however many years later, here you are.
She was amazing. I mean, now she's written off the music industry and she's a dog trainer, but she's and lives in the desert. She's like, I don't know, that music industry thing is whack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's not wrong.
Yeah.
She's not wrong,
Of course. But she's always still been one of my greatest champions and allies. And from that first day, like,
Yeah. So cool.
she's my Italian stallion.
Yeah.
She's always like, us Jews and Italians, Emily. And I'm like, okay, great, you know?
I love her. Is she how you got hooked up with Passion Pit?
Well, interestingly enough, when I was playing as a trio, Ian Holtquist would come to my shows. And then Michael started a band and Ian kind of brought everyone in.
Okay.
And so I think like a few years later, I ran into Ian. I was playing, I want to say TT the Bears, like this was a while ago.
Oh, yeah,
And
nice.
I was like touring out of my car. And I must have had a little bit of a cry or something earlier because it's very hard to tour on on any level. It's hard for many different reasons. But at
Yeah.
the beginning, it's also really hard because you have so much responsibility and there's so many late night drives. And especially if you're opening up for someone, you have to keep up with the bus. So you're doing all the...
You were on a bus tour in a car?
I was an opener for a bus tour.
So yeah, bus tour routing, but you were in a car.
Yes. That tour was with my childhood best friend. I mean, we've described each other as cousins, but we're sisters, best friend. I don't know. Our grandmas were best friends. Like we would check the merch every night. How many smalls, how many mediums, how many extra larges.
Yeah. Literally
Take everything in, sleep in the car. Like sometimes Walmart, because you're allowed to sleep there overnight. Like, I mean, it was crazy. Trying to keep up with like suddenly like a Dallas to Chicago bus route. Like
Yeah.
Criminy.
really,
That's what
really,
I'm
really,
saying.
really horrible.
That's crazy.
And I think right after that, we had done like Dallas to Chicago, and I was winding down into like whatever I had left in my soul.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing outside of the venue, Ian came by, and he was like, "Oh, I'm here with Passion Pit," and I was like, "Oh no, I'm in this tiny car, and like, are they, judging me or whatever?" And I don't know, like a week or two later, he was like, "Hey, like, would you be interested in joining our band? I think like Michael and him loved this song I had, Is This What You Had in Mind?" And they also said that they felt like I could really manage all the background vocals and the additional, like all the keyboard parts and the analog synth parts. And
Yeah.
that was definitely an adjustment for me because I'm a piano player and I love keyboards, but I didn't know as much about keyboards as I
Yeah, we talk about
entering
that on the
into it.
podcast. Like synth and piano is two
Yeah.
different. Like, that's two different
modular, analog
Yeah.
keyboards, piano. Like these are 3 different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not the same instrument, not the same technique, not
No,
the same
not even
technology.
instruments. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael would be like, "Turn up the LFO. How many envelopes are here?" And I'd be like,
You're like, what?
"I don't
Envelopes,
like,
you got
Talk
like
to me in
there's-
music
paper.
terms.
Well,
I'm
there's
just like-
the knob
Oh, wait,
that
that
says
is?
it.
Yeah. I mean, it was an incredible experience. I went from playing like very small venues, and even though that was a larger national tour I was on at the time, I had before that been at every, featured at every coffee shop and neon lights. I've done every gig you can think of
Yeah.
in music. Like, and I I think that's just what being a musician is. You take whatever gigs come your
Everything.
way
Yeah.
and you keep moving.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I'd love to just like rewind a little bit to like between your classmates saying, I can hook you up, and like following the bus tour.
Okay.
So what, you just started playing some local shows?
I think I played Revolution Rock Bar in Boston. That was the first show. Then we played Paradise Lounge, which I don't think is any longer. Then she got me a few other opening slots, and we went to other cities and started doing like the Northeast building. Like, will you sign my mailing list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of happened quickly.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Like it happened very quickly. I remember her calling me and being like, I think I have a national tour for you. Like I talked to Bruce about it, she was like a junior agent. I mean, you have to be a junior agent for like years. And fortunately, Bruce kind of took me on quickly too, and her boss at the time, and they put me out there pretty quickly.
Who are
That's
you
cool.
opening for?
A Canadian artist named Matt Good.
Okay. And that was the Following the Bus tour.
That was that was a Following the Bus tour.
Oh, but that reminds me, you opened for Dar Williams too, right?
And I've also opened for Dar Williams,
Which is so awesome.
she's cool. She was that was the night that changed my life.
Really?
Yes.
Do tell.
Let's
Story.
hear it.
Well, it might not be in the way you wanted it to happen, but
Okay.
the way it happened. Well, first of all, I think the Dar Williams show. Sorry, I'm going through the catalogs, but we got a huge accident when it was initially supposed to happen. Is Higher Ground in Vermont.
Oh, wow.
And our car spun off, and we got in a huge accident.
Whoa.
And anyway, it just so happened that the gig was canceled, so we had to redo the gig. And Dar was super sweet to me, and wrote me, it was very nice. But what happened was there was a different opener than was expected, and the opener who was playing in the smaller club next door was a band called STRFKR.
Oh.
And I was so mesmerized. I was like, why are we all crying in here over these sad songs, and they're all dancing and wearing dresses and having fun? And it kind of really changed my viewpoint on what was possible.
Yeah.
I think I did that show as a duo with a guitarist named Adam Tressler, who's amazing. If you haven't checked him out, he's a wonderful guitarist. But I remember saying to Adam, I was like, I don't know, man. I think these guys got it figured out. Like, they look like they're having way more fun than us getting in the accident, just me and you in this car.
Yeah.
Way more fun than the accident.
And, they're asking us to come party in their van.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm going to get abducted by aliens, so this is great. But it definitely changed I was seeking something kind of a little more exciting. I think after doing a lot of touring as a songwriter, I thought, okay, well, if I spend most of my time in the car, how do I make sure that my time spent on the stage is as fun as possible?
Yes.
So Dar Williams is incredible, and my experience opening was amazing, and her fans were so lovely and heartwarming, and also the after party with the STRFKR guys was great.
That's so awesome. That's so dope.
That is great. Okay, so you had those are both pretty. I mean, those both sound like pretty good opportunities, even though the driving aspect kind of sucks. It's like you pretty quickly were opening for some names. That's some good momentum.
I had some really good momentum, and then I think pretty soon thereafter, Ian was like, "Do you want to do the Passion Pit tour?" And I
Nice.
was
And
like,
you're hell yes.
I was like, I have to make charts now for 40 songs.
But you get
Oh
to
my
be in the
God.
bus though, so that's better.
But you get to be in the bus,
Yeah.
and I mean, it was amazing. Suddenly they're like, I remember the first rehearsal, I showed up with this keyboard,
Yeah.
Nice.
Sir
And
Nigel,
Sir
noteworthy
Nigel.
the second.
and they were like, we have Madonna's lighting tech here, and I was just so
different
green
world.
for lack
Yeah.
of a better. I load in, I load out, I route my own stuff, I buy my own merch. I do, I really was DIY. And then after our first giant rehearsal, I was like, okay, where should I load this out? Blah, blah, blah. Like, where do we pack up? And they were like, oh no, we pay people to do that.
Yeah, like this guy's gonna pack up all your stuff and put it exactly where you want it.
I'm still close
You
with
walk away.
the tech at the time. Ben Doyle, who's
That's so
a gem.
awesome. Shout out.
Ben Doyle. We traveled the world together. He's so awesome. But he was like, yeah, you don't have to do that. I'm like, okay, wow. And then I remember at one festival, I said to Ian, I don't know how I'm ever going to go back. And he said to me, I'll never forget, he said, you'll figure it out. And it's like, you know, you go from different gigs and you remind yourself that like everything ebbs and flows, and that like the reason we do this or that we all started is because we love expression. And I have one friend's mother, one of my friend's mothers is a mother of some amazing artists who are successful. And I said, oh my God, how lucky it must be to see your kid playing on this stage. And I'll never forget, she said to me, like, it's just a stage, no different from any other stage.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of one of the lessons I took away, was that like, it doesn't matter if you're in the living room or if you're at the stadium or if you're in a theater or if you're, you know, we all have to support one another as far as like in the process or the pursuit of expression.
Amen.
What a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Like setting up those chairs.
Like setting up the chairs. Like, yeah, exactly. The other day, I did a commercial the other day and I was like, I don't know, they want me to like basically do like worship, like, ooh, ooh, you know, and I'm alone in my room and trying not to upset my neighbors. And I was just like, how do I get all this energy in here? And my mom was like, why don't you find a bunch of stuffed animals and put sunglasses on them and then have them watch you? And I was
I love your mom.
I was like, maybe I should.
That's cute. That's really cute.
That's really genius, actually.
That would be so adorable and definitely a fun thing to put on Instagram. I do love that because it's like, you know, going from the experience of like, you know, the most DIY and kind of being like, oh God, and then, you know, the kind of discovery of having text and all of this, and then having her just be like, but you could be in your living room. It's just a stage. It's like a humbling thought, really.
I went to their house and like she had my CD right next to everybody else's, and I was like, I'm in there with everybody, and she's like, Emily, of course. And I'm like, you know, I think as musicians, we're sensitive enough to question ourselves and doubt ourselves on any and every level, no matter what part of the process you're in.
100%.
And so it's nice to have those moments that are affirming of like, okay, I'm not some crazy person playing music out of my car. Or maybe I am, and that's okay too, because it's its own place.
Right. Yes. This is the niche I occupy at the moment. Yeah. So how long did you play with Passion Pit?
It was mostly like on the Gossamer record. And then, you know, Michael publicly had, you know, like some challenging stuff, and then a few things kind of unwound behind stage. And that was, I had other things going on at the time as well, like in my own personal romantic life, that I ultimately like kind of stepped away for a while. And I was just talking about this also. I was saying that for a moment I felt like it was lost time. And now I realize that it was like the most important time I could have spent on myself. It was needed time.
Yeah.
And like all of this is kind of full circle for me, even this podcast and everything else. I'm so grateful that you guys welcomed me, because I'm just now feeling like the sense of regret kind of floating away, and this sense of like not... like I feel proud that I took the time to take care of myself. And I took the time to nurture my inner world to feel comfortable. I mean, I think all that touring and things happening very quickly ultimately shook me up in a way that I wasn't prepared for. And then I had to regroup with myself. And ultimately became a better musician and learned bass and figured out composing and entered into TV and film and like figured all these other ways to express myself in addition to the dancing in my bedroom or for my parents' friends. But I don't feel like that was lost time anymore. I felt like that was gained time on the other end.
So important and so wise, because it's so true.
I mean, sometimes the way just like a nap will set you up for a better rest of the day. It's like the pause and absorb. That is cool too. And then to see like you can actually see now what that set you up for.
Yes.
Was this kind of where in the timeline is Riot Horse Royale?
So right after that, I mean, to be fair, like, it wasn't that much time, but it felt like an eternity. Like, I feel like I took a lot of time out in different aspects, but I feel like Riot Horse Royale was around 2000. I mean, it was definitely in the ending of a huge, like a formative relationship for me, and it was definitely this, I don't know, fierce, just Middle Ages. Like, the music is like all about like kingdoms, but
Feudal.
I like it a lot.
Thank you. I mean, I think that Riot Horse was kind of a cry for freedom in its own way. And I think I had done a lot of touring quickly on my own and then on a big level, and then had some other things happen. And then I was like, I don't want to play my piano anymore. And they were like, what are you going to play? Like, I'm going to play bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
How?
I'm a bass
I don't
player.
know. We got to go buy it.
We gotta
I
get
love
one.
that.
And also,
I gotta get one.
Yeah,
first.
like
Yeah.
that STRFKR
Dive
show. I was
in.
like, they're having so much fun up there, and I'm sitting here just like, I am sad. I am very sad. But I mean, now I'm like, I am sad.
Anger has a lot more energy, doesn't it?
But Riot Horse was great. I mean, it happened quickly again. Like Liz Phair suddenly tweeted on our first show about how we sounded like Joy Division, and
I saw that.
we got, a crazy
Yeah.
manager who's how you and I know each other.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I got linked up with Danny, which is,
shout out Danny.
Danny Wright.
Love you,
Danny
buddy.
Wright.
That's a hot man right there.
He's just the best.
He's the best.
He's like one of the,
Fashionista. Can I say that? Is that?
of course. And his wife, Sarah,
Oh my God, Sarah.
What a queen.
She's amazing too. Yes, king and queen.
they're amazing. But yeah, so Riot Horse happened. And then, Riot Horse was hard because we had so many amazing things happening, and not even all the music has been released. And it was just, we got married too young. And then after that, like, suddenly I went to New York, and then I started making all these other things that I still haven't even released. I built all these sets and
Oh, wow.
did crazy things that I haven't like quite figured out how it enters into my life, but I have the openness to not figure it out, but to wait for it to be the right time.
Yeah.
And I think another amazing artist I know said something that like moved me. And so I hope anybody like takes it to heart, but they reminded me, they said, Emily, as long as you're marking time as an artist, whether anyone sees it or not, you're doing your job.
Yes.
And so I feel like I've significantly marked time. And then it was COVID, and I was like, I got to figure out how to make money. And I started composing, and that has been working out
That's awesome.
as well. So
And you actually put an original song into...
yeah, there was a movie that came out this year with Melissa Barrera, who is in Carmen and In the Heights and Scream. And when Riot Horse ended, someone said, hey, can you score a short? And I was like,
Sure.
How does one do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there are no words in this? Okay. And then someone passed that short along, and then someone called me and said, hey, I think this short's really terrible, but the music is really good, and would you be interested in doing something else?
Nice.
And so that one thing led to another, and then this independent film got picked up by distribution, which is pretty rare, and got a theatrical release, and that was in April. And they also had me write an original song, which was
Nice.
amazing. And then it was nice because like a bunch of the radio people were like, oh, come. I don't know. I feel very loved and very like I've had a lot of great opportunities, and maybe it all comes from We Are Beautiful.
Yeah, totally, right?
Absolutely.
And you're very talented.
Tony, thank you.
You are very talented.
Yeah.
Very talented.
You just put all that positivity
Yeah.
out there really early, and it's just come back to you and come back to you.
And like, it's also just saying yes to stuff like that little short film.
my
It's
gosh,
like,
yeah.
it's akin to asking the question, just kind of like, and how you approach Berkeley, just
Yeah.
full of just optimism and just no judgment. Just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to mark my time as an artist, Because you did this little short film. Like, you might have been like, this ain't going to pay. This short film sucks.
Yeah.
But instead you were like, nope. And you did an amazing job. And that's what got all this stuff. So, I mean, that's really like you're doing it right.
It's funny though. That is
Yeah,
why it's
mad
so hard.
respect.
It's so hard to say no to stuff because you kind of just never know. Like
Exactly.
you could have been like, I don't know if this
It's
is
not
going
just
to be
like
worth
saying
my
yes,
time.
though. It's also doing your best because you
Yeah.
could have been like, oh, it's just a little short film, whatever. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna,
like not really
you know,
try or whatever.
But then you did your best, and it's so good that people noticed it.
Right. Yeah. Actual
Yeah.
evidence that like it's fun when you can see a straight line like that. Like, oh, this thing directly led to this thing. I was reading a little bit about that film too. It looks pretty interesting.
It's cool. It's definitely addiction based, and my family. I'm pretty public or open, but like my family has definitely had a lot of experience in the family disease of addiction and alcoholism, and I felt kind of like, oh, okay, I guess I'm supposed to be doing this. Like here I am in my right place again, kind of writing the music to the landscape that it's not everybody's story is different, but the feeling of isolation and lack of connection, I think, is something we can all relate to. I was very happy to be able to like lend my voice to that. And also it was a great opportunity for me because I was able to learn so much about sound design around my voice. And like after the touring, one of the main things I've been digging into, I've made it like a good living off of doing all the session singing for TV and film, and getting really good with the mic and really good with vocal treatment, and really good at sound design and vocal design. So I was able to just completely explore that on the score, which was unique, and I wouldn't have been afforded that in any other way.
Very cool. So you're working on another feature now?
So I just finished scoring a young adult film that I think the working title is Recipe for Love, but it's from a book called A Cuban Girl's Guide to Love and Tea. Oh no, but what if it's tea and love? Dyslexia. Dyslexia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked out also because I'm from Miami, and then it was like perfect because it was about a Cuban girl who burns down her abuelita's pastelito shop, and then she like goes to London to a bed and breakfast and she of course finds love, and it's really heartfelt. It's like a YA holiday movie, or like the holiday YA.
Sweet.
It sounds really cute.
It's very cute.
Yeah. So you're scoring it. Are you doing any original songs for that one?
There's no original songs. It's all underscore. It was a major triumph for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, from the, here's this emotional world, and they're like, Emily, it's a sunny day. It's a sunny day. And I'm like, it's a sunny day.
Yes.
You got it.
Sunny day.
Sunny
yes.
day.
Love it.
So I'm definitely figuring out how to flex my muscles and also be adaptable. And, I want, when I work with someone, to get them the vision they want. That's the whole point as a composer, is it's a support role. Like you're trying to build the director or showrunner or producer's world for them. So the visual bandmate is a new landscape of bandmates for me.
I'd love to hear about like how you like score the stuff. Like now everything's kind of done digitally, but do you like record live instruments ever, or just?
So I am doing it mostly in the box, since there are so many rounds of notes and edits. And then once everything's approved, then you can record live instruments. But it is, spoiler alert, it's MIDI.
No, but that's what's so amazing about that stuff. Honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of, the composing world to me has been a kind of like, who's the master of the software? So
What do you use?
Pro Tools.
Yay.
Yeah, that's my DAW.
Yeah. That's my DAW.
That's my
my
DAW.
DAW.
That's my DAW. But it's definitely like I'm working constantly to figure out how to sing more naturally through that. It's kind of the new terrain for me outside of the other instruments, virtual instruments, and troubleshooting, and lots of YouTube tutorials.
So do you have something newer you'd like to play us or edit in?
Yeah, we can cut something in if you'd like.
I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. I should have practiced.
That's okay.
It's like, well, do you want to play us out like on the keys? Just give us some walkout music.
I'm gonna walk you guys out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first,
Thanks.
can I say, Emily, thank you
Emily,
so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We've been trying, just so everyone knows, we've been trying to schedule Emily to be here for like a year. And it's my fault because I always hit her up like a day before. I'm like, hey, can you be somewhere at 7 a.m. tomorrow? So I understand that it's been tough to get you, but thank you for coming. We've been waiting for it.
Every effort you
pleasure.
made to get Emily here, it was all worth it.
Thank
Totally.
you.
You did
Worth it.
All right, so thank you for being here. Play us
Thank
out.
you, Emily.
Okay,
I'm going to
just
walk out
go.
slowly.
I don't know if we've ever had so many full circle moments in one episode. Actually, just so many clear, straight lines between cause and effect. This lady gets results, and we love to see it. She's got a new single coming out. Follow her socials to keep up with all the latest goodness. Check out All the World is Sleeping, a film she scored, including the original song, Let Me Be the One. It stars Melissa Barrera, if you're following the whole fired from Scream 7 over pro-Palestine posts thing, but I digress. Emily has a whole body of work on Spotify. We'll put links to that and all the other stuff we talked about in the show notes. Why don't you follow us on social media? And as always, we kindly, sweetly, obsequiously ask you to subscribe to the pod, rate and review wherever you listen, because that's how we get to more ears. It's our holiday wish. Okay, thanks. Love you. 2 more episodes this year.